Hey guys, this is Gundam Gooners Federation bringing you one of our testing stream videos. Well, not necessarily stream, but this is me and another one of my teammates just going over some games. The prior Sunday is when we tested Blue-White Epion with Zeta, and it had some really good results. Zeta's really, really good into decks that can't really deal with big guys. So, like, the mid-range, not necessarily mid-range, but like the mid-game to early-game decks, like blue-purple, purple-white, blue-red, stuff like that. Like, it's able to handle aggro decks pretty well. You're clearing guys with Zeta and Epion and Grandpa Gundam and Ale Strike while you're just, walling up and stopping attacks. Obviously, if aggro happens, but, yeah. So this is a game where I was like, hey, we need to actually test that deck against green-white wing. So we put together a list, and we're just going over this one right now. We started off pretty evenly, and we got some Ale Strike shenanigans going on the blocker side. But unfortunately, Wing Gundam is just a pain in the butt for a lot of decks right now. I'm a firm believer that Wing is actually the problem card in the green-white deck, not Wing Zero, because everyone plays around Wing Zero. Like, we've built for it, we've played for it to minimize its damage. Wing Gundam is just so hard to deal with, especially since it's essentially being played at the same time like card like Grandpa and Amuro are played. So, like, when you consider what Amuro Grandpa can clear and what Wing can clear, Wing just has the sheer advantage. Also, the fact that it's Breach 5 means that it takes out every base aside from Argama and the 6 HP bases. Not every deck is on both one or either of them. So, like, it's just a lot because it can clear any mid-game threat without it even having to be rested. I have the argument that, like, Shenlong is already, like, really good, and it can potentially snowball you an advantage because it can break a base potentially, it can kill a blocker, and then kill the target of its attack. But it's a little different because Shenlong, it also isn't huge. Wing Gundam, especially when it's linked, is a 7/7. It's hard for almost anything in the game to clear without a link pair. So, yeah. Here you can see in this game where I was able to wall up, but unfortunately, I'm noticing that with Zeta, keeping the base up against any, like, deck that has guys just as big as mine is really difficult to keep the base in play and maintain Zeta's ability to restand over and over. Sure, with its pilot, Beta can clear basically anything, but without it, it can't. Now here's definitely where, like, Epion comes in and can help clear up a board and get you back into the game. But the longer cards like Wing Zero and Wing stick around, the harder it is for this deck to really do much. And Zeta requires, unfortunately, 3 cards to work. So that's where this is just sort of like a rude awakening for the Zeta Epion deck. And see here, yeah, he's able to board at least one blocker, so that way even if I do board Epion or attack with Epion, it's only going to clear one thing before it gets taken out. And thanks to Wing Zero, I'm basically on a timer here. I had to be able to clear Wing Zero, and none of my guys can do that since it's unblockable. I attempted to take it out here, but that's where he blocks the L strike, and this is basically game. And this is where I also determined that a lot of times if my Zeta Gundam was Freedom instead, And if Camille was Kira, then I might have actually been able to take the board back. Freedom just does so much for you. It's 6 HP, makes it to where it's untouchable pretty much outside of the few niche interactions. Not very many decks are on the CPU pilot, and no one's playing Unicorn right now. So, like, until it's damaged, you're not touching Freedom. Now, I get some questions of why I opt to choose to go first than second. Most of the time, I'll be quite honest, going second just doesn't feel great. Sure, you get the extra EX resource and you're up a level for most of the game, but like because you want to hold on to the level advantage, the EX resource doesn't actually like matter a ton until the late game. But by that time, the amount of advantage your opponent has probably gained from just going first has already leveled out any advantage you've gained for going second. So unless you're playing a deck that already gains EX resources and you're just opting to just go up to like level 7 by like turn 4, then going second just feels worse than going first. There's no disadvantage to going first since you get to draw a card, and you still get the same amount of resources that your opponent gets throughout the game, with the exception of the 1 EX resource. I will say aggro decks, they kind of favor going second a little bit just because they're able to play more dudes a little quicker, and their curve is a lot lower. Yeah, if you see what I mean right here too, like if I was able to just board another Freedom right here as opposed to just boarding Zeta, I wouldn't have a vanilla unit in play, and um, Freedom would be able to basically absorb the hit from Wing if we were to drop it on the next turn. Sure, it was able to whatever, take out this blocker here, but the same can be said for anything else. And if that argument was Archangel, then it would have been the same situation. Yeah, see here, he just boards Wing 0 and a couple of guys. And yeah, this would have been the same situation if I just boarded 2 Freedoms and then just killed his base and then just restood it with Archangel. But at least Freedom has its good ability, and it has the ability to reduce the damage it's going to take when it attacks a unit. So, like, sure, it won't be able to attack 2 guys or attack a base and then a guy like Zeta can, but, like, that's what Epion's for, right? And now he powered up his Wing 0, so that way even if I attacked it with Zeta, it's not going to clear Wing 0. I had to go into Epion to clear it. And then he topped into the Ale Strike Cura for the game. So yeah, it's really rough. You need too many cards for Zeta to work, and every situation where that could have been freedom, it would have been a lot better. So now we're gonna start up another game, but this is where I've opted to try without playing Zeta and switch to a freedom-based variant that's basically going to make Freedom and Epion do all the heavy lifting. Got our good turns here. He opened bird mode, so he's up to level 5 on turn 3. That's pretty good. And here's where, if he had drawn into Wing and Hero, it probably would have been very hard for me to deal with this. Like, players sometimes don't understand just how strong Wing on turn 4 really is. And since we're on the Kira here, we were able to make this play with the Ale Strike. He counters with Death Scythe, but then we counter with Grandpa. And then we put out a blocker with Striker Pack. So, yep, and then there's the Wing. There's all the damage Wing can do. Here's a Freedom, and it can't deal with Freedom without losing, usually. Yeah, now he's on, he's dropped Wing 0. He's got the double threat, but now we've got the Freedom plays here. Unfortunately, we messed up a little bit. I actually forgot that Freedom has to also be paired in order to use its effect, even if you pair with something else. So we kind of goofed a little bit, but for the most part, it didn't change a whole lot.
18897 back on property.
125.
Now we got Epion was able to take them both out, and here we are. Yeah, see? And there's Wing again, takes that out. I get breached. Now he's trying to dig into a way to clear my board. Can't draw into Wing 0 or Wing Hero, so we're taking care of his board, and now we're back on the offensive, and we've taken back the board. And then walled up, and it's over. See what I mean? Like, Zeta's good, but it's only good against the early game decks because it's able to stand tall against the weenies. It's just too brittle with needing 3 cards in order to take down threats against green-white Wing. My boy over here is complimenting the list we put together and really likes it, so that's cool. This next portion of the testing segment, I'm on, I believe it's Purple Blue Psycho. When we wanted to test the synergy between Psycho and 4, and then the ability to ping your own units, and then they just recover that damage and then draw cards. It's a neat little prospect. Unfortunately, Psycho Gundam is just a tad too slow for it to actually work. However, Psycho MA mode has just enough low cost and mid range level to it actually works with the purple combo pieces. So you can go like MA mode 4, that's 4 resources, and then 2, play Ryu Seiko, ping Psycho, draw 1, discard 1, and then you can attack with Psycho, although I've noticed it feels a lot better to hold it up so that way it's not attacked. And unless it gets damaged again after it's been linked, it's not really going to be targetable by stuff like Grandpa Gundam. It has to be pinged with stuff like Red. So if you can keep it in active mode and you ping it once per turn with your stuff and let it repair itself, and then you just keep your hand to a medium size, you can actually just get free cards every turn. It feels really good if it actually sticks. So in this matchup, my buddy's opting to try blue-white Epion. He hasn't played a blue-white deck at all, to my knowledge. So he's just given this a try. He was already thinking about building something with Epion anyways, so yeah. We got our board going here. The only thing that really sucks about playing this type of a deck is that it peters out. I've noticed it's still combo piece reliant, and while you are getting free cards back using like the Psycho play, the Barbados play, etc., your opponent's still a lot of times taking 2 cards away from you when you do this stuff, and then they still got stuff like Ale Strike to pick apart your board. And yeah, he chose to put the 4-2 into play. While yes, you can ping it twice, like it requires a decent amount of resources. So I actually thought the 4-2 here was actually really good. It's able to clear certain things that the 2-4 can't clear. And there we got something going on for our Psycho Gundam. The only thing I really hate about Psycho is that it's for what it's supposed to be, it's a giant mobile suit. It's supposed to be really tanky, but like I feel like they didn't make it tanky enough. It's only got 6 HP when it's linked. And although it can repair, 6 HP is so easily one-tapped by so many units, some even without being linked. When we put together this list for blue-white Epion, after I took out the Zeta stuff, we put in some Tall Geeses from the new set to give Zex another target. It's really good. It gives you another good mid-game threat. And aside from the level being 1 higher needed in order to play Zex, it's essentially the same time frame as Grandpa Gundam and Amuro. So, like, it kind of does the same thing. It gives you a big guy, and this one actually gives a card back. And if it lives through 1 battle, that's even better. And you see right here where I was talking about, like, this deck just peters out over time, and once you get into the late game against a deck that actually has late game bombs, you just can't keep up. Their guys are taking more than 2 cards away from you every time they use stuff like Freedom and Epion, and you have to give up at least 2 cards in order to take them back. And at this point, we're thinking maybe we decrease some of our like neat little aggro stuff, and we were playing the the 4 HP base that lets you recover one from one of your dudes every turn. It's a cool combo when you consider Floor's effect. It just lets you statically draw a card every turn. So it's just a neat little combo, but again, it's just that it's a combo. So, and unfortunately, we don't have enough like ways of seeing combo pieces in this game right now. So, I guess we're just being a little too ambitious trying combo decks to see what we can do here. I would say the closest thing we have to a combo deck is the purple shenanigans, but they're already kind of reliant on themselves as it is. So, you know. And this is just where it feels kind of bad. Because, like, unless you open straight up, like, Barbados Ryusei and a way to attack with it right away, it's just a lot to need on the board. And, like, here's just another situation where you just get slammed by abilities to rest and then just take out your opponent's stuff before it gets to do anything. I am happy, by the way, to see that the GD01 Gundam is seeing a lot more play in these blue, purple, and Psycho-based decks. It definitely has the the ability to, because you have a lot of pilots. You're oftentimes not going to have the right unit for them. So a way to filter out your hand is actually pretty good, and it still buffs the guy, and it still has repair 1 because it is white base. So it's not a bad card by any means. And this is where, like what I was talking about, like being able to put up MA mode is so much easier than putting up Psycho Gundam. Like I was able to put 2 of them down. So now if I have the stuff, so like if I have 4, like I do there, and then a Ryusei Go, like I do there, I'll be able to draw the extra card, and it's more or less effortless. And if I'm able to keep up the Psycho Gundam, it's even better because I can do it on the follow up too. But here it looks like we're going a bit more on the wide and actually trying to contest his board. But freedom is already in play, so that's another thing we have to look at here. Freedom is such a pain in the butt to deal with. And the Epion is here. And it's gone, but it did its job. Yep, here's another one of those Ryusei Goes. You get to do the draw effect again this time. Nahalargama to rest one of the blockers. Now, I will say this was a decent turn for this build, but we got another one of those situations where the Elstrike Amuro comes down and it just cleans up your board. And this is another one of those situations where I said that we messed up with freedom. I forgot that he had to be paired in order to get his effect. So, again, whoops. But now we're out of our, we don't have any of our, like, our piece anymore, so we can't, like, draw extra cards off of Ryusei Go just pinging a guy for free. And this is where the purple engine tends to fall apart because it doesn't have the stuff necessary for this to work. We do have the Barbados and the Mikazuki here, so we were able to get the free card out of it, but we have to Or wait, no, sorry, that's not Barbados 1, that's Barbados 4. We have to, give up using 2 damage here to just clear a Freedom Gundam. Like I said, he's such a pain in the butt. And he's able to crash back and then still stay in play, and then just more blockers. We got some grandpas come down here to try and take the board back, but he's basically doing the same thing. And yeah, this game's about to fall apart. Sure, we're getting guys back into play, but all his guys are just better than mine right now. Yeah, I scooped it up because there's no way for me to fight back his board like this. So, moral of the story here today, after doing a bunch of testing, combo decks are probably not the way to go, at least not yet. We don't have a way to fish for a bunch of free units right now. And we really just don't have the ability to we just don't have a way to get enough cards to make a combo deck actually work right now, with the exception of the purple decks. But that's basically the extent of it, right? You have to go no further than those 2 card plays. The same at that point can be said about the Zeta combo. It's so strong with all 3 cards together, but the base being susceptible to damage, and then not having it just makes Zeta plus Camille still a very subpar vanilla 6/6. So I think we definitely need some more ability to see combo pieces so that these neat combo strategies can actually work. Until then, we're probably going to be stuck in this control aggro format. There's not really going to be a good combo deck for a while. But I hope you enjoyed this testing session, got to see some gameplay. I know it's a bit fast, but no one likes a slow game, right? And for the most part, unless you're super brand new to Gundam, even then, it's still pretty easy to follow if you've read even the basic rules. So, anyways, thanks again for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.